Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are heading out on a journey to explore the absolute extremes of our natural world. We're talking about biological anomalies, record breakers, and creatures so massive they almost defy logic. From the deepest rivers to your very own living room, we've pulled the data to show you 40 giant animals that actually exist in the real world. Get ready, because these real-life titans are going to completely change your perspective on scale. Okay, let's dive into this. To keep from getting totally overwhelmed by the sheer scale of these creatures, we're going to break things down into 5 neat categories. First up, wildland giants. Then monsters in the waters, followed by the biggest sky rollers, fantastically sized farm animals, and finally, super-sized house pets. Section 1, wildland giants. We're kicking things off with the apex predators and massive land roamers. When you step into the untamed wilderness, you quickly realize that size is absolutely a matter of survival. Just think about these crazy scale comparisons. We actually have footage on record of an Alaskan moose casually strolling down a road, and its massive frame literally dwarfs an entire car. It's wild. Then you've got the anaconda. We're talking about a snake spotted just resting in a tree that reaches up to 9 meters in length. That is the exact length of a city bus. Oh, and we can't forget the Barbary lion. Historically celebrated as the absolute largest of the lion species, this beast stretches out to an intimidating 3.3 meters. Now, what's really interesting here is what happens when human intervention meets wild genetics. Meet Odin. Odin is a liger. That's a crossbreed between a male lion and a female tiger. When Odin stands up on his hind legs, he towers at over 3 meters tall and weighs a staggering 400 kilograms. I mean, think about that. This magnificent hybrid easily outweighs and outmeasures a massive, fully grown grizzly bear. It's just incredible. Let's see how this massive scale translates across some other wild species. Ready for some rapid-fire stats? First up, we have Brody C. He was a captive Kodiak bear who hit the scales at a record-breaking 966 kilograms, standing 2.75 meters tall. Next, there's a giant timber wolf weighing in at an unusually heavy 80 kilograms, which is way beyond the normal 60-kilogram average for that species. Finally, all the way over in Texas, there's a giant kangaroo named Jack. Jack stands an impressive 2 meters tall and weighs 100 kilograms. That is essentially the exact weight of a heavily built adult human. Moving on to Section 2, monsters in the waters. Time to look at the deep aquatic giants. So, leaving the towering trees and plains behind, we're transitioning down into the murky, mysterious depths of the world's waters, where biology gets, well, even more extreme. 1.4 tons. Seriously, let that number sink in for a second. This massive figure represents the weight of Cassius. Cassius holds the world record as the largest living crocodile. Alongside this absolutely terrifying weight, he measures a massive 5.5 meters in length. Just imagine coming face to face with a predator the size of a heavy-duty pickup truck. This next comparison brilliantly illustrates just how crazy ocean biology can get. Think about a giant manta ray next to a terrestrial rhinoceros. Manta rays are already the largest rays in the world, boasting an incredible 7-meter wingspan. But the real shocker? They can weigh up to 2 tons. I want you to really picture this. An elegant, flat creature just gliding underwater that weighs exactly the same as a fully grown, armor-plated adult rhino. Mind-blowing, right? We've grouped these massive river and ocean dwellers together to give you a true sense of scale. First, consider a giant catfish caught by a fisherman, tipping the scales at 127 kilograms and 2.7 meters long. Then we have the legendary sturgeon of British Columbia. This is a totally prehistoric-looking giant measuring 3.2 meters and weighing 270 kilograms. And rounding out this trio is the leatherback turtle. Now, you might think of sea turtles as relatively small, but the leatherback can reach 2.4 meters and weigh up to a full ton. Now, it's not always just about weight. Sometimes it's about pure attitude and terrifying adaptations. Giant river otters can grow up to 1.8 meters long. Locals literally call them river wolves, and they are so incredibly bold that there's footage of them easily intimidating and scaring away full-grown crocodiles. No joke. Then you have the Tasmanian freshwater lobster, a creature so monstrous its claws can easily sever human fingers. And while we're on the subject of bizarre aquatic sights, fishermen have even reported seeing incredibly giant elephant seals that absolutely dwarf their own fishing boats. All right, Section 3, biggest sky rulers. Let's look up at the giants of the air. Whether they're on land or in the water, animals always seem to find a way to maximize their size. But what happens when you actually have to fight gravity? Just think about the wingspans on these sky rulers. We have the Philippine fruit bat, a flying mammal with a massive 1.7-meter wingspan that weighs 1.2 kilograms. So that's essentially the weight of a house cat just flying through the night sky. Next is the shoebull stork, a tall gray-blue bird with a 2.35-meter wingspan, which is famous for having the largest beak of any bird in the world. And finally, the undisputed king of the skies, the Andean condor. With a 3-meter wingspan, this giant can glide for an astonishing 160 kilometers without flapping its wings even once. So we've seen the terrifying and the wild, but all of this raises a very interesting question. What about pets and domesticated animals? What happens to the animals we live with when genetics push them to the absolute limit? That brings us to Section 4, fantastically sized farm animals, the domestic giants. Welcome to a farm reality where absolutely everything is supersized beyond normal comprehension. These stats are just incredible. Let's start over in Australia with Knickers. Knickers is a cow that reached 2 meters in height and weighed 900 kilograms, easily dwarfing every single other cow in the herd. Then there's Big Jack, a Belgian horse, famous for being the tallest in the world. He stands 2.1 meters tall and weighs well over a ton. But for sure, the most incredible mini story here is Elmo III. Elmo was a black pig from the Indiana State Fair who weighed a massive 600 kilograms. It literally took over 20 people just to lift him onto a truck for his official weigh-in. Can you imagine? And the farm records just keep coming. Look at Mostyn Moorcock, who holds the Guinness World Record for the largest goat. He reached an unbelievable 500 kilograms. Sadly, this giant only lived for 4 years, which is pretty short compared to the 15-year average lifespan of a normal goat. Then we have Punko, an Alabama bull. But what makes Punko a record breaker isn't just his size, it's his horns. While most bull horns curve upward, Punkos grow completely straight out, creating this incredibly intimidating span of over 3 meters. Finally, we reach Section 5, supersized house pets. What happens when pets outgrow their homes? Bringing this explainer directly into the living room, let's talk about ordinary house pets that completely outgrow their homes. We're talking companions that have essentially turned into giants. First up is Zephyr, a Caucasian shepherd that is quite literally 10 times larger than your average dog. Then consider the Neapolitan Mastiff. These dogs act as wolf pack destroyers due to their incredible strength. Males can stand over a meter tall and weigh a staggering 85 kilograms. And hey, it's not just dogs. Take this giant white goose, standing 1.5 meters tall. It completely dwarfs normal adult dogs that try to stand next to it. It's almost comical. If you thought that was wild, check out Darius. Darius is a Flemish giant rabbit owned by former model Annette Edwards. And Darius is big, like 1.3 meters long and weighing a staggering 25 kilos big. To put that into perspective for you, this pet rabbit is significantly larger and heavier than an actual baby goat. No way, right? Now, let's quickly move to our creepy-crawly mini giants because, hey, even the absolute smallest creatures have Titan versions. The Goliath snail is 6 times larger than your average garden snail, growing up to 40 centimeters long, making it literally the size of a house cat. There's also a giant butterfly out there with a stunning 27-centimeter wingspan. But the most terrifying one has to be the giant centipede. Usually, they max out at around 30 centimeters, but this specific species reaches 42 centimeters, and its venom is potent enough to completely paralyze prey 15 times its own size. Yeah, definitely don't want to run into that. Okay, we've talked a whole lot about physical size today, but to wrap things up, we absolutely have to look at the massive scale of time. 255 years, that is the incredible recorded lifespan of the Aldabra tortoise. Not only is it one of the largest land tortoises in the entire world, reaching 1.3 meters in length and weighing up to 300 kilograms, but its lifespan makes human existence seem incredibly brief. It is a true giant in both size and time. Which leaves us with this final profound thought. From 9-meter anacondas to 25-kilogram rabbits, we've seen creatures that completely shatter our everyday understanding of nature. So, what are the true biological limits of our planet? I mean, if these 40 giants exist today, you really have to wonder what else might be hiding out there in the extremes of nature, just waiting to be discovered. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes open. The world is a much bigger place than you think.